The possibility of more snow this week. We'll have the latest. And the Galena City Council tonight tries to sniff out an odor issue. KOAM News at 10 is next. Now at 10, a warning about road conditions as we could get more wintry weather in the coming days. Plus, expert advice for avoiding or treating hypothermia and frostbite. And area warming centers provide shelter from the dangerously cold temperatures.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We're heading into another very cold night. Some roads could refreeze and we won't see a thaw for at least a while. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney, dealing with some hiccups, trying to get through those, joins us with a first look at the weather.
I think I'm doing okay. We're going to make it through this first weather with taking a look out 20th and Rangeline and downtown Joplin. You can see most of our roads are clear, but in the edges of roads, shoulders, and into the grass as well, we're still dealing with a lot of ice and snow. And with that melting, earlier today, we are seeing the possibility of a refreeze with temperatures dropping down into the teens. Currently, we're about 16, 17 degrees out there. Now, our MoDOT road tracker, Kansas road conditions, clear for most of us, especially in the higher populated areas, Pittsburgh, Chanute, Iola, but some areas, especially in the northern counties, Burlington, Garnett, and Mound City, completely covered still because they got up to 5 to 6 inches of snow along with ice. Now, the Missouri side, completely clear. We're looking good for most of our roads out in Missouri, especially again in the higher populated areas, but we do have the chance for more snow later in the week. I'm going to talk about that coming up.
Hiccup free, Lindsay, thanks. You can get the latest road conditions and power outages from across the area anytime through this QR code. It'll direct you to links on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for that information for each of the 4 states in our viewing area. AAA of Missouri wants to remind you to be aware of the possibility of black ice that can be hard to see. Use extreme caution on bridges and overpasses as those usually freeze first and melt last. Also, limit lane changes, avoid using cruise control, and reduce speed. That'll help you recover if you do start to skid.
Continue to look where you're trying to go and continue to steer that way. Your vehicle is more likely to right itself and regain traction than if you're wanting to, kind of go the opposite way and fight where you're going.
Also, according to a report from Cars.com, four-wheel drive does not help your car slow down any faster, and it could still lose control when driving in icy weather. While the recommendation is to stay home in treacherous conditions, some people they simply don't have that option. A group of volunteers in Kansas City made a difference by offering rides to first responders in the middle of yesterday's storm. Fernanda Silva braved those same conditions for this story.
It was a stressful night for Dalao Abdugadir. After her Saturday shift as a nurse, her drive home was hectic.
I was driving on the road and my car slid. I couldn't even sleep, thinking about how I'm going to go to work.
Her stress was alleviated with the help of KC Off-Road.
It says 16 minutes, but it's probably going to be more like 20, 30. Go back that way?
Yeah, go back straight then.
Okay.
The group volunteers their time and their 4x4s on snowy days.
I mean, we need them. We need police officers. We need EMTs. We need nurses. They can't get around. We have four-wheel drive. We have Jeeps. We play around in this on a weekend, so we'll be willing to take them back and forth if we need.
As soon as 2 inches of snow hit the ground, the KC Off-Road Snow Squad hits the road.
You're right off of 29 North, right? Where your work's at?
You can go this way, Smithville.
Roads that can be tricky, but can also bring a sense of fulfillment.
At least for me, it makes me feel nice and happy because we're able to help out somebody that might not be as fortunate.
I have to go. I have a patient I take care of, and I know they need me, so I have to go.
A full circle situation for Dalao, receiving help to help others.
But thank you very much. I appreciate it.
First responders in the Kansas City area who need a ride should contact the group at KC Off-Road Adventure freely at gmail.com. As temperatures across the 4 states fall well below freezing, it becomes dangerous for those living on the streets or without heat. Warming centers are opening their doors to offer a safe place to those who need them. They're run by volunteers and donations. Many of these warming centers are able to provide a place to sleep, a warm meal, and a shower.
We're driven to go out and bring people in. My husband right now, he's out on the trails bringing people in because they need to come in and get warm. And so I just want to make sure that everybody would be safe this winter.
You should know the warming center hours do vary and not all are pet friendly. We have a list of warming centers in the 4 states that are open or plan to open on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. We encourage people to call these locations and check on hours. You'll also find information on donating or volunteering for each if you're so inclined. If your organization has a warming center and you'd like to be added to that list, we'll just email our digital content manager, Stacy Strader. Because of these potentially dangerous temperatures, it's important to recognize the signs of hypothermia and frostbite and how to prevent them. Nick Kelly spoke to some medical experts and has more.
Our cold blast has settled in with lows in the teens Monday morning and temperatures staying below normal this week. While some can limit their time outside, Jordan Hicks from Bug Zero says work must go on for the staff taking pest control calls inside and out.
Our clients still need us for different infestations, so even on days like today, we're out and about taking care of whatever pest problems people need us to.
Hicks says while the technicians can take frequent breaks in their trucks to heat up, they use gloves, hats, overalls, and layers to keep them warm as possible outside.
Something moisture wicking that pulls that moisture away from your body, that helps keep your body warm underneath. Your second layer, some form of fleece or something that insulates.
Even though temperatures won't drop below zero, Amy Harmstrom with Cox Health says it doesn't need to be too cold to put yourself at risk for frostbite and hypothermia.
Anything less than 95 degrees body temperature is considered hypothermia for us. So even though it may be 20 degrees outside, you add that wind chill.
Frostbite symptoms include redness or pain in any skin area, white or grayish yellow skin, waxy or firm skin, and numbness. Hypothermia symptoms include confusion, shivering, difficulty speaking, sleepiness, and stiff muscles. Those who need help should call 911 right away while being brought in to slowly warm up with warm liquids and carefully cover themselves with blankets and warmer clothes. Whether it's for work or a quick jaunt outside, the best prevention is to dress warm and know your limits.
Wear multiple layers of clothing. If a layer of clothing gets wet, that needs to come off. When you get wet, you are 25 more times faster to lose body heat.
If you're starting to feel unsafe, take a break, get in the heat however you can. But doing your part's going to help your chances of not getting sick or frostbite, hypothermia.
Now keep in mind, warming up should be gradual. You want to use warm water, not hot water, which could cause your body to go into shock. If left unchecked or untreated, frostbite could lead potentially to amputation of affected limbs. Hypothermia, at worst case, could be fatal. The best way to prevent those is to stay warm inside, of course, and dress warmly if you have to go outside. Remember, if you need help, call 911. The Galena City Council tries to sniff out an odor issue. That story is just ahead. Plus,
Congress certifies the 2024 presidential election results. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill with a look at how the proceedings today stand in stark contrast with what happened here 4 years ago.
Hotspot, Outpost Casino, Highway 1010C on the Oklahoma-Missouri border. TheOutpostCasino.com for details.
the Galena, Kansas City Council is trying to sniff out the source of an odor issue. In a meeting tonight, the council agreed to ask the Kansas Department of Health and Environment to further investigate the cause of a sulfur smell that's prompted a number of citizen complaints. The odor seems to be worst in this area, north of 4th Street, not far from a landfill. Residents complain the smell seems to be strongest in the evening.
It's been off and on. It was just a little bit like the past summer and stuff like that, and nothing really to worry about, but now it's just nonstop. And it's just whenever, because I'm on the south side of the landfill and the wind blows from the north, we smell it.
KDHE had previously determined the smell was not likely coming from that landfill, but the council is seeking a further investigation. Authorities are looking into the cause of an early morning structure fire in Kendricktown, Missouri, just north of Carthage. It was coming from a commercial building which used to be a semi-truck wash. Carthage Fire confirms that one man was injured by burns to his head. He was taken to a Joplin hospital. Police in Aurora, Missouri avoided what could have been a deadly situation. Authorities say a man entered the lobby of the police and fire facility last night armed with a handgun and placed the gun to his head, threatening to shoot himself. Say he also pointed the weapon at officers who were behind bullet-resistant glass and repeatedly asked to be shot. When officers refused, the man stormed out of the lobby, then returned without a gun. Police subdued him with a taser. No word yet on any formal charges. Congress certified President-elect Donald Trump's election win this afternoon without incident. The proceedings were a far cry from what happened 4 years ago today when Trump supporters breached the Capitol in an effort to stop lawmakers from certifying Joe Biden's victory. Natalie Brand reports from Capitol Hill.
Congress formally certified Donald Trump's 2024 presidential victory Monday.
This announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States.
The candidate he defeated, Vice President Kamala Harris, presided over the count, a process steeped in tradition as the electoral ballot boxes made their way through the Capitol to the House floor.
Today, America's democracy stood.
The peaceful proceedings with no objection stand in stark contrast to what happened here 4 years ago when a mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol to try and stop the certification of Joe Biden's 2020 presidential win.
We cannot let anyone whitewash what happened here 4 years ago.
Nearly 1,600 people have been charged for their roles in the January 6th Capitol attack. Of those, 1,000 have pleaded guilty and 600 were charged with assaulting or resisting police. President-elect Donald Trump has promised to pardon January 6th defendants.
Democrats say that would be a dangerous endorsement of political violence. Republican lawmakers, meanwhile, are promising to advance President-elect Trump's priorities as quickly as possible.
We were focused on getting President Trump's cabinet up and running quickly by ensuring that his nominees are speedily confirmed.
New CBS News polling shows 4 years later, the January 6th Capitol attack continues to be met with disapproval from a large and bipartisan majority of Americans, though Republicans' disapproval has softened. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
In a social media post, former Vice President Pence, who presided over the 2020 certification, wrote, he welcomes the return of order and civility to these historic proceedings, adding that it's admirable that Vice President Harris would preside over the certification of an election she lost. A little later, some big news for Pitt State Track and Field. John Dales has the latest on a couple of promotions for the program later in sports.
And we made it through our first winter system of 2025, but we've got another one coming, and I'll have those details right after this.
Nominate your
Well, we started off 2025 with a polar vortex pushing in a lot of cold Arctic air. Brought us some snow, and you can see, taking a look outside Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, a lot of that has been melted off of the pavement. Road temperatures did get above freezing today, so we did see a lot of melting. However, with melting on the shoulders and on the grass, we are still seeing some water in the roadways that could refreeze as we head into tonight. Now, clouds are clearing, but we have more clouds pushing into Oklahoma and Kansas. That's going to bring partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies tomorrow. Temperatures are starting off still pretty cold, down in the lower teens to upper 20s. By 9 a.m., we're already about 15 degrees. Again, cloudy skies through most of the day, and then temperatures warm up to the upper 20s. However, in the morning, we're starting off with wind chill values in the negatives to about 5 degrees. So it is going to be pretty cold, and then that continues for the next couple of days. Now, we jump ahead to Wednesday temperatures. That's the main thing that we're going to be dealing with all week long, is the very cold temperatures. By 6:30 in the morning, we're already back down to the low teens and upper single digits. Winds out of the north, but they shift as we head into Wednesday afternoon out of the east, and we're seeing another shift later in the evening. Well, temperatures are warming up to the mid to upper 20s again on Wednesday, and then we head into Thursday. We start off relatively cool again in the mid to upper teens, but those winds are out of the south, so we warm up for our highs in the upper 30s. This is about a 10-degree jump from the day before, but we have another cold front pushing through. You can see all the way out to Wichita, Kansas City. Those wind shift lines will be pushing in later Thursday evening and into Friday, actually bringing some snow chances. So taking a look at our upper level flow, what we're expecting, we have a low pressure system that's cut off from the upper level flow. So it's going to take a couple of days to rejoin, but we're still dealing with a lot of this cold Arctic air from the trough that was pushed off to the east. So then jumping ahead to Thursday, as this low pressure system does rejoin with the upper level flow, we get another rush of cold Arctic air as it pushes into the 4 states on Thursday afternoon. We're going to start to see, it's about 5:30, so we're going to start to see a few flurries. And earlier in the day, we might actually get a little bit of a rain mix with snow because temperatures aren't quite below freezing earlier in the afternoon. But heading into the evening, mostly just getting that snow. We're getting the top end portion of this because that trough is very deep. It's much lower than where we're at. So we're getting the top portion of this snow, and it's going through Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and into Tennessee. We have snow showers, though, continuing until early afternoon on Friday and then clearing out, where we get another chance for potential snow on Sunday from a shortwave trough. Taking a look, though, at our snow tracker amounts that we could potentially see from the snow system coming in Thursday night and Friday, we have in the northern counties, which is a nice break from them because they had quite a bit of snow this last round, but less than an inch of snow in those northern counties. Then as we drop down to, say, Pittsburgh, Parsons, Independence, all the way down to Joplin, about an inch to an inch and a half. Joplin and south, we're seeing above 2 inches of snow possible. Now, like I said, though, we get a second round from a shortwave trough of snow moving into the area on Sunday. Very light, not expecting a lot of accumulations with that system, and temperatures are going to be well above freezing as well. So we're not expecting a ton from Sunday, but we could see some accumulations on Friday.
People will have to be careful in the meantime.
Definitely.
Lindsay, thanks. Still ahead, another NFL team requests a head coaching interview with the Chiefs offensive coordinator and Pitt State Gorilla. One of them is named MIAA Player of the Week. John Dales has those stories and more coming up next in sports.
Pittsburgh State's track and field and cross-country programs have won 7 national championships and 16 MIAA championships since Kyle Rutledge has taken over as the head coach in 2021. Today, he gets an upgrade from his position of head coach as Pittsburgh State Athletics announces a couple of title changes and promotions for the leaders of its cross-country and track and field programs today. According to a release from PSU, Kyle Rutledge will now be the director of cross-country and track and field. Pitt State Athletic Director Jim Johnson says this more fully reflects his leadership of both programs. Meanwhile, Ben Barrows is now the head coach for the Pitt State men's and women's cross-country teams. He has served as the distance coach on Rutledge's staff for the past 4 years. Well, the winter weather has gotten in the way of a lot of the basketball games scheduled for tonight. Tomorrow, though, 2 of our local college teams will square off as Pittsburgh State plays host to Missouri Southern at John Lance Arena. And this afternoon, Pittsburgh State senior Corinna Gerber is named MIAA Women's Basketball Player of the Week. This comes after she has led the Gorillas to a couple of conference victories over Arkansas, Fort Smith, and Northeastern State. Gerber scored a career-high 35 points to go with 12 rebounds in a win over the Lions on Thursday. Well, she followed that up with 11 points and 9 rebounds in Saturday's home win against the Riverhawks. Before tomorrow's showdown between Missouri Southern and Pitt State, here's a look at the current women's basketball standings in the MIAA. Pittsburgh State undefeated in conference play through its first 4 games, as is Missouri Western, tied for first with the Gorillas. Missouri Southern is 3-1 in conference play. On the men's side, Washburn leads the way in the MIAA. The Ichabods are ranked number 2 in the nation. They have an undefeated record as well. Pitt State is 3-1 thus far. Missouri Southern is 2-2 and part of an 8-way tie for 4th place. Well, in the NFL, today is commonly known as Black Monday, which signifies when head coaches typically would get fired immediately after the finish of the regular season. The Jacksonville Jaguars fire their head coach Doug Peterson this morning. This comes after a 4-13 season and a 3rd place finish in the AFC South. Interestingly enough, no other teams have followed suit. However, that's probably because several teams didn't wait until the end of the season to part ways with their head coaches. The New England Patriots fired Gerard Mayo just hours after winning their season finale against the Buffalo Bills yesterday. They also finished at 4-13, and 3 other head coaches were fired mid-season. One of those teams was the New York Jets. They fired Robert Saleh after starting the season 2-3, and according to ESPN, the Jets have requested to interview Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy for their head coaching vacancy. Nagy was 34-31 as head coach of the Chicago Bears from 2018 until 2021, before returning to Kansas City in his second stint as offensive coordinator. Another sports note, I mentioned earlier, NEO men's basketball, they bring a 10-game winning streak into the new year. They win again tonight, so 11-game winning streak for them now.
It's nice to start the new year in the same way they ended the old one.
Definitely.
See if they can keep it going. We'll be right back. Hi, Travis. Hey, don't forget, you can be the first to know about today's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. You get those severe weather updates and straight to your phone. Best part is the price. It's absolutely free. You'll find it in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. KOAM Skywatch weather app. Right now, though, you don't have to go to the app to get the weather update because we have Lindsay Gaffney here.
Oh yeah, and it is going to be cold for the next couple of days, so we do have a lot of melting going on, but temperatures or rain will refreeze overnight. Highs for the next couple of days in the 20s and lows remaining in the teens, but we have another chance of snow Thursday night and into Friday.
I know different people have different opinions about snow, and yes, it's beautiful, but as I get older, I like it less and less.
That's fair.
It's miserable to drive in. Final sports notes.
Tomorrow we have those basketball games between Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern. I think revenge is going to be on the mind of the Missouri Southern women. Last year, their season ended at the hands of Pitt State in the MIAA tournament.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I had forgotten that. A couple of good teams. We'll see who comes out on top this time. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show starts at 5 a.m. and let's make it a great tomorrow.